About 4 years ago, I built this guitar, and it turned out pretty good. Then 2 years ago, I built this guitar, and it was a little bit better. And now, this year, I built this guitar, with the hope that I'm still improving, on 4 eyes. For me, guitars are not only fun to make, but they're a great representation of my progress as a woodworker over the years. And hopefully, it's a biennial tradition that continues into the future. So when I built that first guitar, it was essentially a copy of a guitar I already had. I just remade the body. The second guitar I made was based on a Gibson Flying V, but I didn't have a physical guitar to base it off of, so the build was a little more involved. I also bought a pre-made neck for that one, so that part was easy. And now with this one, I wanted to challenge myself a bit more and build the entire thing from scratch. So that's what I did, and here's how I did it. You can see here that I started by making the blank for the body, which was essentially a stack of walnut, maple, and mahogany at various thicknesses. This footage was also shot over 3 months ago, as this is one of those builds that I've just kind of been fitting in whenever I have time between furniture builds. So it's been in the works for a little while. So with the blank glued up, I could have my star employee Greg cut out a template for the body. And the shape of this guitar is based on an Ibanez Tallman that was made in the 90s. And it's one of my favorite guitar shapes. I purposely chose a piece of walnut for my top layer that had a bunch of cracks and voids so that I could experiment with cold cast brass, which is essentially just a mixture of brass powder and epoxy. I could then get the body to final dimension with my template, a router, and some help from a couple friends. So with the body ready to go, I could set it aside and focus my attention on making the neck, which is one of the most difficult things I've ever made, and maybe one of the most difficult things I've ever done, period. And that's saying something, because I have to make Chris look like he knows what he's doing every week. I'm just kidding, but I have opened a Capri Sun through the top. Anyways, I started by using a template to mark out the neck shape and the center line, which is maybe the most important aspect when building a guitar, as everything is based off of the center line. From there, I was ready to install the truss rod, which needed to be inset into the neck. The truss rod is a mechanical part that can be tightened or loosened to straighten the neck as wood shifts through the seasons. And in order to work properly, it needs to be a perfect fit. So with the truss rod cavity dialed in, I could get the neck to its final shape using my template. last part to the neck is the fretboard, and this is where things get really difficult, so
hold on to your butts.
Now, before we get into this stuff, I will say that there's a ton of nuance when making a guitar neck and fretboard that is hard to cram into a video without it becoming a boring, confusing mess. So just keep in mind, this is kind of the Cliff Notes version. Okay, so almost all fretboards on electric guitars have some sort of radius to them. Different people prefer different radiuses? Radii? But I decided to go with 12 inches for mine. So the first thing I needed to do was cut a shaping block with the correct radius. These can also be purchased, but I figured why not make my own. I then pre-cut my fret slots while the board was still flat. And the frets need to be perfectly spaced depending on the scale length you're using. So a fret spacing ruler is very useful here. Which brings me to another point. Building a guitar can potentially require a truckload of specialized tools, but I wanted to see how minimal I could be. I have always loved the idea of making it work with what you have, so I did my best to do just that. But I'll also put a list of the tools that I found to be critical to this build in the description. With the fret slots cut, I set up some guides and taped the fretboard to my table saw so that I could radius the fretboard as accurately as possible. So after getting my cardio workout in for the day, I could finally glue the fretboard to the neck. And to help with this, I used 2 small locator pins to make sure the fretboard was perfectly aligned and all the frets were perpendicular to the center line. As you can see, this step also permanently encloses the truss rod into the neck. So cross your fingers you don't get an email a few days later to inform you of a recall for the truss rod included with your recent order due to a defective weld. We will send you a free replacement as soon as possible. That's inconvenient. So with the fretboard glued on, all I could do was hope that the truss rod never fails on me and move on to the final shaping of the neck and headstock. The shape of the neck is also very much based on personal preference, but I decided to go with a fairly middle-of-the-road shape as I figured this would be the easiest for me to achieve on my first try. I did the majority of the shaping with an angle grinder and a carving wheel, then dialed everything in with hand sanding. This step also illustrates how guitar making feels to me as a whole. You have one side, the fretboard, that's ultra precise and requires a great deal of accuracy. Then you have the other side, the neck, that requires feel and touch to get everything just right. And I had this same thought at many points during the build, and I guess you could say it just kind of struck a chord with me. At this point, I could drill the holes for the tuners, then get a look at the neck and body together as a whole guitar for the first time. To take a little break from the intensity of building the neck, I did some of the final shaping on the body. And while I do that, why don't we take a little break and thank Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace has made building a website easier than ever, and you don't have to be a coder or a web designer to make a great looking website. And that's because they have a ton of award-winning templates, each of which is optimized to work on mobile browsers or desktop, where essentially all you have to do is plug in your images and information, and you'll end up with a great looking result that will work anywhere. On top of that, Squarespace offers powerful and easy to use e-commerce tools like inventory management and secure payments to help you get your business off the ground. As a small business owner, I'm responsible for many tasks that keep my business functioning, and one of those tasks is keeping my website up to date. By using Squarespace, the time and energy I have to allocate to my website was significantly reduced. It almost felt like I was able to quit my job as my own webmaster. So if you're thinking about starting a website, or if you already have one, check out Squarespace to see if it might be a better option for you. Head over to squarespace.com/4eyes for a free trial, and then when you're ready to launch, use the offer code 4eyes to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Alright, thanks Squarespace. Let's get back to the build. So I finished shaping the body of the guitar by carving a contour on the back, as well as cutting a bevel on the front, both of which will make playing this guitar much more comfortable. So with the body fully shaped, I could get back to working on the neck, and I started by drilling some small holes on the edge of the fretboard for the side dots, which mark specific frets. And for these, I just filled them with some more epoxy and brass. I could then cut all of my fret slots to final depth and bend all of my fret wire to match my fretboard radius. Fret wire benders are another tool that can be purchased, but they can be a little expensive, so I just looked up online how to build my own. I then began the tedious task of hammering in each fret. With all the frets in place, I needed to trim the ends. And not surprisingly, they sell a special set of fret end cutters, which cut the frets very close to the edge of the fretboard. So once again, I figured I could make my own. So I took a pair of cheap end cutters and ground down the top until it was flush with the cutter, and it worked like a charm. There are inevitably some small gaps below the frets after they've been hammered in place, but these gaps can easily be filled with a bit of CA glue and some sawdust. Then it's just a matter of chamfering the fret ends, then filing them smooth so there aren't any sharp edges against your hand while playing. Whew. So take a deep breath. The neck and fretboard are pretty much finished at this point. The last step is to essentially level all of the frets and reshape them so there aren't any high or low spots along your entire fretboard. This process is kind of tedious and a little time consuming, but a very important step to achieve a well-playing guitar. Now I know I glossed over a lot of the detail in making the neck and fretboard, but I could really make an entire video on that part of the build alone. Actually, I did make an entire video about it, and I posted that over on my channel, which I'm hoping we'll start using as kind of a second channel. But if you're interested in diving deeper into making the neck and fretboard, go check that out. I'll put a link to it in the description. But for now, let's get this thing finished up. The next step was to install the nut, which holds the strings at the top of the neck. And this is held in place with a tight-fitting dado and some CA glue. With the placement of everything laid out, I could then cut the cavity for all of the electronics in the back of the guitar, as well as the cavities for the pickups in the front. I then needed to drill holes between all of the cavities for the wiring, and the keychain on the drill bit here is to ensure that I'm drilling the hole level. Finally, before assembling everything, I added some finish, and since most guitars are given a super glossy finish, I decided to go with a simple oil finish to keep it natural looking, you know, to go against the grain. Okay, it feels like a marathon, but we're finally at the home stretch. Everything just needed to be assembled, and all of the electronics needed to be wired and installed. I won't go into detail about all of the electronics, as every guitar can be wired differently, but if you know how to solder, this shouldn't be a problem. Alright, at this point we have reached the last step. Get some strings on the guitar, file in the string slots on the nut, and see if all this hard work has paid off. Alright, well, I couldn't end a guitar making video without playing a little ditty at the end, but I'm going to apologize in advance as I don't play much these days, so go easy on me. And of course, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed this one, and until next time, making a guitar can be difficult and give you a feeling of dread, but just think about once you're finished and you finally get to shred.